Just so good morning all, and welcome to our consecutive sixth lecture of hydrology and water resources engineering. We are discussing about the unit number 1, that is hydrology, and in the previous lecture we had seen the part related to the calculation of the mean precipitation over an area. In that we have discussed the various methods, that is the arithmetic mean method, then Thiessen polygon method we have discussed yesterday. Isohydral method we have just had an introduction of that. We'll go for in details. Then inverse distance weighing method is there. We are not going to study this method. Okay. So for the first method, that is arithmetic mean method, we'll go for the quick review of that, and then we'll start for the further discussions. Okay. So in arithmetic mean method, we used to calculate the average precipitation or the mean precipitation just by taking average of recorded precipitation of each and every stations and dividing by the total number of stations. And this method is used when the percentage variation in the measured rainfall or the precipitation, we can say, is less. This is the limitation of this method. Then the formula for the same to measure or to calculate the average precipitation, that is a summation pi by n, where I ranges between 1 to n, means the limit for I is 1 to n, means if n number of stations will be there, in that case the addition will be p1 plus p2 up to pn divided by the n number of stations, we can say. This is for the first method, that is arithmetic mean method. Then we had seen the next method, that is a Thiessen polygon method. It is also called as weighted mean method, which is adapted or which includes the methodology that the allocation of the area for each and every rain gauge stations, those are installed in a catchment by constructing polygons. This is the idea of that. The procedure was, firstly we have to join, just a minute, firstly we have to join the stations by straight line. Then we have to draw the perpendicular bisectors, those lines joining stations, which yields in a forming triangles, and then finding the areas of each and every polygons, those are going to be around each and every station. So this is the idea, and yesterday also we had explained with the example. Suppose that this is an area which is having the 3 stations A, B and C. First point, that is a procedure, is joining the station A to B, then A to C and B to C, we can say. After joining A to B, B to C, we have to draw the perpendicular bisectors to the lines AB, BC and CA connecting to the boundary of a catchment. So here this is for a perpendicular bisector for AB, this is for AC, and this is for BC, we can say. So now the out of total area, now area has been allocated to the station A, this polygon, we can say. Similarly for station B, this polygon, and for the station C, the whatever the area which is there lying below the these 2 lines and above the catchment boundary, this is for station C. Then if the dimensions are not given, in that case we have to find out the areas by planimeter, because in the first step it is required to draw the catchment area on a paper with a suitable scale, and after that we have to mark the positions of the stations and the recorded rainfall by each and every station. Okay, so by finding the areas and all those things, we is to find out the areas, and then we is to take the product, so that we is to get the average precipitation. So the methodology includes now calculate the area of each polygon by planimeter or calculate if dimensions are provided, then multiply the area surrounded by each polygon by the recorded rainfall of that station, and then average rainfall is calculated by the formula summation AI pi by A, means product we have to go for, that is a area into precipitation of each and every station, and we have to divide it by the total area A. If we look into the formulae, then we found that A1 P1 by A, A2 P2 by A, A3 P3 by A. It means that we are dividing the area of a particular polygon by the area of a whole catchment, and that ratio of the area of a particular polygon to the area of a catchment is considered as a Thiessen weight. That's why it is also called as a weighted mean method. Okay, and whenever that weights are given, in that case we have to take the average precipitation as a summation WITI. We had seen that yesterday only. Then we had started for isohedral method. Isoheight is nothing but the line representing the equal rainfalls as like a contour. So contour represents the or a contour line represents the points of same or equal elevations, whereas the isoheight line represents the points of same precipitation or a same rainfall we can consider here. Okay, so this is about an isoheight we can say. So isohedral method, the procedure involves, firstly, the catchment area is drawn with a suitable scale. I would like to go with the example directly. So this is an catchment area which has been drawn on a paper with a suitable scale. After drawing the catchment area, that is a boundary of a catchment area, we have to mark the positions of the rain gauge stations, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. Whatever may be the number of stations are there, and we have to mark the amount of rainfall or the precipitation which has been measured by each and every station round to it. So after marking the area, we have to mark the positions of the stations, and along with that we have to mark their measured values of the precipitation. Here in this method, the rain gauges those are nearby the catchment area are also taken into consideration. For example, station C, which is close to this boundary, station F, which is close to this right hand side, and station E is close to the lowermost portion we can consider here. So by considering all those things, afterwards we have to draw the isoheights, means the line of same precipitation. So how to decide that? Because how to decide that from the whatever the rainfalls, those has been measured by each and every stations. For example, here station F has measured 4 units, B has measured 7 units, A has measured 7.2, E has measured 9.1, C has measured 9.2, and D has measured 12 units, isn't it? So while moving from station F towards the station A and B, that is towards the right hand side, we can say, in that case we are finding that the magnitudes of the recorded rainfalls are increasing in order. It means that if you consider the first isoheight, or if you consider the first line passing through the station F, whose measured the rainfall is 4 units, then while moving towards the right hand side, we are finding that the rainfall values are increasing. But for station B, it is a 7 and station A is a 7.2. So arbitrarily we have taken from 4 to 6, means we have considered the incremental value of the precipitation as a 2, and so by adding that 2 to the 4 we used to get the 6. So we had drawn that 6 units isoheight. Now you may have a question in your mind that how that shape of the line is like this. So while drawing the line or while extending that isoheight line, we have to take into the consideration of the reference precipitations measured by the rain gauges. It means that while drawing this line of 6 units, we have to refer, or we have to take into consideration the rainfall measured by the station B as a 7 and rainfall measured by the station A as a 7.2. So by considering that, we have to draw the isoheight line. So 6 we have drawn. Then while moving from 7.2 and 7 towards the right hand side, the value is increasing to the 9.8 and 9.1. Isn't it? So we have taken again the incremental value of 2 units, that is 6 plus 2, that is 8 we can say. So next isoheight will have the magnitude of the 8 units, and we have drawn the isoheight for the 8 unit, that is again by considering the precipitations, those has been measured by the stations, like station B has a 7, station C has a 9.2, station A as a 7.2, and station E as a 9.1. So arbitrarily we are getting that from where that line is going to be extended over there. Clear? So likewise, again, while moving from A towards the D, we are finding that the rainfall magnitudes measured by the stations are increasing. So here it is a 12, whereas here is a 9.2 and 9.1. So above 9.2, there will be the value either 10, 11, and at the 12 exactly it will be the 12. And beyond that, we don't have any stations, so we are not going for a stretching ISO height line here. So here we have considered again the interval for ISO height as a 2 units. It means that next ISO height will have the magnitude of 10 units, and we have drawn that ISO height line of 10 units again by considering the reference precipitations of rain gauges those are existing in that particular region, isn't it? So this is the initial procedure. After drawing those ISO heights, the assumption is that in this method that whatever the ISO heights are there, for example 10 and 8, in between that ISO height, so whatever the area of that catchment is included, that area is to receive the same precipitation or the same aerial distribution of the rainfall which has been measured by the rain gauges in between those two ISO heights. It means that in between the ISO height 10 units and ISO height 8 units, the rainfall measured by the rain gauges is a 9.2 and 9.1. It means that on an average, this area is going to receive the aerial precipitation with the magnitude of 9.15, because if we take the average, then we can consider that 9.1 and 9.2, it will be 9.15 something. So we are assuming that the precipitation received by this catchment area is the same as that of the rain gauges which are lying in between those two ISO heights. Similarly, for the ISO height of 4 units and ISO height of 6 units, the rain gauge station is showing that the magnitude of rainfall recorded as 4 units for this area, and here we are finding that 7 and 7.2. It means that ISO height is of 6 units and the 4 units in between that, whatever the rainfall will be there, that rainfall distribution will be the same over the catchment area, which is enclosed by 6 units ISO height and the area of the some area of the catchment area and the area beyond the catchment up to the 4 unit ISO height. So this is the methodology, and after knowing those things, afterwards once again we have to find out the area between two ISO heights either by planimeter, or if they are given then we have to consider them as it is. Okay, so it means that after knowing the area of between those two ISO heights and it will multiply the precipitation which has been occurred or rainfall which has been occurred in this area, then we will get the product of area and precipitation, isn't it? So likewise we have to go for, and it will divide the total sum, means here we will have the ISO heights, 2 ISO heights are there, means average precipitation will be 8 plus 10 by 2, that is a 18 by 2 we can say, that is a 9 we can say. So 9 units we can say on an average the precipitation has been received by this area. Okay, so previously I had considered for stations that is 9.2 and 9.1, but if you consider the ISO heights, then we have to take the average of those two ISO heights. So ISO heights are nothing but the precipitations only. So this line represents the 10 unit precipitation, whereas this line indicates the precipitation of 8 units. It means that if we take an average of those two precipitations, then we will have 8 plus 10, that is 18 by 2 as a 9. So 9 into area plus then this one 6 plus 8, that is a 14 by 2, that is a 7 into area. Likewise we have to take the product and we have to divide the total product by the whole area of the catchment, which has been shown over here. This is A1 into P1 plus P2 by 2. P1 plus P2 means what? P1 is a ISO height number 4, whereas P2 is ISO height number 2, means precipitation of ISO height 4 and precipitation of ISO height 6, means 4 plus 6 by 2 into area A1, which has been enclosed in between those two ISO heights. Similarly, A2 means area between those two ISO heights, and the P2 plus P3 means the average of this 6 and 8. Likewise, we have to go for up to whatever the ISO heights and areas therein, and at the last we have to divide it, isn't it? So this is the methodology we can say. Now we will go for the part of the numericals. part. Okay, the analysis of the storm yielded the following information regarding the isohyets. Calculate the average depth of rainfall. Okay, so the data is like this. Isohyets in millimeter, they are given. It is a 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100, 100 to 100, 110 to 120, 120 to 130, and corresponding areas between those two isohyets are, for first one it is a 10, second one is 85, third one it is 113, fourth one it is 98, fifth one is 136, and the sixth one it is a 67. It means that the magnitudes of the isohyets and the corresponding areas between those two isohyets are given to us, and it has been asked to calculate the average precipitation. Now here the name of the method has been not mentioned. It means that as isohyets are given, so we have to go for isohyet method only. Okay, so you can directly unmute yourself and say me that you have completed. Okay, so here I had directly solved the example. Just firstly go into the procedure how the magnitudes are getting calculated and all those things. So I have prepared the table. I have prepared the solution in the tabular form. In the tabular form, the first column I have considered for the isohyets in a millimeter. Those has been given to us. Okay, that is a 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100, 100 to 110, then 110 to 120, and 120 to 130, isn't it? And after that, areas are also given to us in square kilometer. That is a 10, 85, 113, 98, 136, and 67. This is a given data which I have copied as it is. The next method, the next step is that these isohyets are representing now the precipitation. That is a 70 millimeters or 80 millimeters or 120 millimeters or 130 millimeters. And in between those two isohyets, means in between 120 millimeter and 130 millimeter, the area which is therein, or the area which has been covered by 120 millimeter rainfall and 130 millimeter rainfall is about 67 kilometers, isn't it? So which value we have to go for, either 120 or 130? So we have to go for here average precipitation, that is average of those two isohyets, means 120 and 130. So its average is a 125. So I have taken firstly the average isohyets oblique precipitation in millimeters. So for 70 to 80, its average is a 75. 80 to 90, its average is a 85. 90 to 100, its average is a 95. 110 to 110, sorry, 100 to 110, it's 105, and 110 to 120 as a 115. Okay, so means firstly we have taken the average precipitation of the two values of the precipitation which has been embedded or which has been included in between those two isohyets, isn't it? म्हणजे आपण काय केलं इथं तर 70 आणि 80 म्हणजे 70 मिलीमीटरची एक लाईन आहे आपल्या आयसोहाइटची म्हणजे प्रेसिपिटेशनची, दुसरी लाईन कितीची आहे 80 मिलीमीटरची आहे, आणि त्या दोघांच्या रेंज मध्ये जो एरिया आहे तो 10 किलोमीटर आहे. नंतर कोण आहे 80 आणि 90, म्हणजे 70 समजा आपण लेफ्ट साइडला कन्सिडर केला. आय विल गो फॉर द शेअरिंग हिअर इन जस्ट अ मिनिट. I will show it on the board. I hope so this is clear to all. Now I am requesting all of you to have an answers, is those answers are correct or wrong, because this numerical has been asked in the university examination. I tried for its a solution at my own, and whatever the values are therein, those values are as per my calculations. So I want to know from your side, is those values are correct or wrong. If you have whatever the values you have got, you do tell me. Okay, great. I was expecting that. Okay, Akanksha has given. Okay, so again Prajakta has also given the reply. Okay, so have you clear about now about this example how to go for? हे example सर्वांना कळलेले आहे का? About near about 3 types are there in this method. This is a one of the type. आता दुसरी टाइप आपण पुढे कव्हर करणार आहे. जर का समजलं नसेल तर सांगा, मी आणखी एकदा रिपीट करतो. Is it clear to all? Is it clear to all? सर्वांना समजलेलं आहे का? Just reply me fastly. Bhagwan, is it clear? Who else is there again? देशमुख. सगळ्या देशमुख आहेत का? 3 4 सर्वच्या सर्व. गौरव, is it clear? सर्वांना समजलेलं आहे? Okay, great. Then we will go ahead. Okay, so thanks for the response. Please try to give any response. Otherwise, the assumption is that you are just. I will not go for that in the analysis. Okay, so we'll go for next one. Okay, it was asked in December 18 for 4 marks. The once again here only the type. Okay, so just go through it. This is the given values of the isoheights and this is the given values of the areas, and it was asked in December 18 for 4 marks in university examination, and it has been asked to calculate the things. Okay, great. Janmeja, I got the answer from you. Okay, we'll go for that also. I'm expecting the such type of the responses from all of you. Okay, is it not like that? Only a few persons should. Now we will see the solution part of that example. So here, regarding the solution part, if we will go for the analysis over here in. For the first station, that is which has been recorded, the rainfall as a 12 centimeters. Its average will be the 12. That is the only innovation we can say here in this example, and all other things were the same as it is, because here only one isoheight was given, that is a 12. It means that close to that boundary line, that station is to exist, and the area surrounded by that station is about 30. And in such cases, we have to consider the whatever the rainfall has been recorded by that station as it is. That it means that a 12 centimeter as it is. So the average isoheight or the precipitation in centimeter for that station which has measured the 12 centimeter as a rainfall, it will be 12 itself. Then for the isoheights, those were in between 12 and 10. Their average precipitation means 12 centimeter precipitation and 10 centimeter precipitation. Its average will be required to go for. So its average as 11. Then between 10 centimeter and 8 centimeter, its average as a 9 centimeter. Between 8 centimeter and 6 centimeter, average as a 7 centimeter. And between 6 centimeter and 4 centimeter, its average as a 5 centimeter. Then the areas as it is, I have copied once again. That is a 30 square kilometer for the first station. In 140 square kilometer for the isoheights 12 and 10. Then 80 square kilometer for 8 and 10, 180 square kilometer for 8 and 6, and 20 square kilometers. Just a minute. And the 20 square kilometers for the 6 and 4 centimeter isoheight. Isn't it? So if we'll go for the next part, that is a product we can say, that is a area and average precipitation. म्हणजे area आणि जे काही average rainfall झालेला आहे त्यांचा. Then we'll get first product 12 into 30 as a 360. Then 140 into 11, that is a 1540. 80 into 9, that is a 720. 180 into 7, 1260. 20 into 5 as a 100. And summation of this product is about 3980, whereas summation of this total area is about 450. And average precipitation we want to go for. So how to go for? Just we have to divide this product, that is a area and a average precipitation, by the total area. So 3980 by 450, I got the answer here as 8.84. I got the responses at 8.44 and 8.46. It has been, we'll go for next example, that is calculate the average precipitation for a catchment area by the isoheightal method. and it has been asked in May 2014, May 2017, and December 18 for 8 marks. In 3 consecutive examinations, we can say it has been asked. Okay, so the table gives us the magnitudes for isoheights in centimeters and area under isoheights in square kilometers. So the just note down the table here. So table gives us an idea, that is a isoheight right of 50. Isoheight right of 50 is 8.2. Means for right hand side of the 50 centimeters isoheight, the area is 8.2 square kilometers. Then next one, that is isoheight in between 50 to 60, the area under that isoheight is 49.70 square kilometer. 60 to 70, it is a 31 square kilometer. 70 to 80, it is a 36.6 square kilometers. 80 to 90, it is a 35.30 square kilometers, and 90 to 100, it is 32.7 square kilometers. Whereas left hand side of 100, here we have considered 50 and 50 onwards, means towards the right hand side of the 50 we have considered. Here to the left hand side of the 100, it's a 9.20 square kilometers, and we have to find out the magnitude of average precipitation by the isoheightal method. So we will see now the how to solve such type of the examples and how to calculate the average precipitation by the isoheightal method when it has been given the idea about the 2 isoheights, that is towards the right hand side and towards the left hand side. Okay, so just consider that this is a sketch over here. In the solution part I have considered, because right of 50 it has given, so I have considered this as an arbitrarily I have drawn a catchment area. This is a elliptical catchment area I have drawn over here in, and I have mentioned, great Snail, great, I will check that. Okay, I will come to that point. So I have drawn the isoheight, so also here, that is a 50 centimeters isoheight, and right of 50 means towards the right hand side of this isoheight, the area is 8.2 square kilometer. Please try to understand the phenomena herein. Okay, once you will get the phenomenon over here, the numericals and the examples are so simple, isn't it? So towards the right hand side of the 50, the area will be this one, this is a 8.2. Then in between 50 to 60 means I have to go for the next isoheight towards the left hand side only, because for the 50 the area has been given towards the right hand side. म्हणजे मला कंपल्सरी आता 50 च्या लेफ्ट हँडला साइड जावं लागेल. मग त्याच्या पुढची माझी आयसोहाईट कुठली आहे, त्याच्या पुढचं रेकॉर्ड केलेलं रेनफॉलची किती व्हॅल्यू आहे, तर 60 आहे. सो I have considered the 60 centimeter isoheight over here, and area between those two, that is a 50 and 60, I have considered here as a 49.7. Then next isoheight is a 70. So 60 and 70, in between that 31 square kilometer. 70 to 80, area as a 36.6. Then 80 to 90, it's the area as a 35.3. And 90 to 100, it's a 32.7, isn't it? So Ariva, great, Kavanjali, great. I got the answer from 3-4 participants. We'll check that. Then this we got for 90 and 100, that is a 32.7, and left to 200. So left side of 100 means here we can treat that left hand side of 100 is towards the left hand side of the isoheight, and the boundary of the catchment as it's a outermost boundary, we can say. So this area that is towards the left hand side of 100 is about 9.2 square kilometers. So this is an pictorial view of the catchment area I had shown over here, so that we will be understanding the phenomenon. That is how means about the what does it mean about the left hand side and right hand side about the that isoheights. Now we'll go for the solution part. So here I had shown the same catchment area over here in, and the areas now, that is average precipitation, the tabular form I have prepared over here also, as like the previous examples. So here we are finding that the first column has isoheights in millimeters. Is those values were in millimeters, centimeters, sorry, the values are in centimeters. So instead of millimeters, here we have to consider it as an centimeters. So isoheights in the centimeters: 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100, and lastly as 100. So average precipitation or the average iso height for 50, it will be the 50 itself, because there is a no further iso height which has been given to it's a towards the right hand side of same. So 50 we have to treat as it is. Then in between 50 and 60, here in a sketch we can say 50 and 60, we will have the magnitude as a average one, that is a 50 to 60, that is a 55. Then 60 to 70, it's the average as a 65. Then 70 to 80, it's the average as a 75. 80 to 90, it's the average as 85. 90 to 100, it's the average as 95. And lastly, left hand side of 100 it was given. It means that we have to consider the iso height 100 as it is, and area to the left hand side of that is 9.2 स्क्वेअर किलोमीटर. म्हणजे याचा अर्थ काय की 100 सेंटीमीटरचा जो पाऊस पडला तो त्याने एरिया कुठला कव्हर केला, तर राईट हँड साइडचा. मग तो एरिया किती होता त्याचा, 9.2 होता. म्हणजेच या एरियासाठी डायरेक्टली आपल्याला 100 सेंटीमीटर पाऊस कन्सिडर करावा लागेल. सो आय हॅड कन्सिडर्ड 100 ऍज इट इज. सिमिलरली 50 सेंटीमीटरचा जो पाऊस पडला त्याने किती एरिया कव्हर केला म्हणून दिलं आपल्याला, that is towards the right hand side of the 50, 8.2 square kilometers. म्हणजे मी काय केलं, मग डायरेक्टली 50 सेंटीमीटर्स रेनफॉलने जो एरिया कव्हर केला तो आपण 8.2 घेतला. म्हणजे तो ऍव्हरेज करायचा संबंध येतच नाहीये. देयर इज नो पॉइंट इन मेकिंग द ऍव्हरेज. अँड देन वी हॅव टेकन द प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ द सेम. 73, 73, 89, 73 answers we are getting. So we will check that. So here the area and the average iso heights, the product has been taken over here. So 50 into 8.2, it is about 4.410. Then 55 into 49.7, it is 2733.5. 65 into 31, that is 2015. Then 73 point, okay, we will discuss that. Then 95 into 32.7, 3106.5. Likewise 100 into 9.2 as a 920. It may happen that somewhere else the calculation part from my side may went wrong, isn't it? So as per this, I had taken the summation of the product, that is the average precipitation and the areas, and I got it as a 14930.5, whereas for the area I got the summation as a 233.7. And at the last, the average precipitation will be product of area and average precipitation to the total area. So that is 14930.5 upon 233.7. I got the answer as a 63.88. But in the chat box, I am getting the answers as a 73 point something, isn't it? Most of the you have given an answer as a 73 point something. I got the answer as a 89 also. So we'll treat it as an 73 point something. Okay, so sum is a 202.7. okay, so area has been wrong, isn't it? Just check for this table, is the calculation for the area is a correct or wrong. So I did the wrong calculation as per as the calculation of the area is considered. Its magnitude is a 202.7. And if you take the ratio of that product, that is 14930.5 to the 202.7, you will get the answer as a 73.65 or 66, something like that. So the correct answer will consider that a 73 point or something is there, isn't it? So this is about an such type of the example where we are getting the two neighboring or closing iso heights directly and their magnitudes are not